I was asked to demonstrate how one might alter bartering loot tables to drop more ender pearls while hiding the evidence using fabric. The proposed idea was modifying a sodium jar without leaving a trace. Sodium is a client-side FPS boosting mod which is often used in speedruns. It's client only, it doesn't modify anything, no game mechanics are changed. So what we're going to do here is look up the bartering loot table. I had it up. So this right here is the bartering loot table. We're going to see where that's used. It's used here in get bartered item, which generates the loot table. That returns a list of item stacks. It's usually only one item stack. And then it goes here to do barter, and then we check if the player is present, and then drop differently depending on that. So really I could inject into either of these methods here. I'm thinking this one looks nice because, well, I don't really want to mess with this. But at the same time, yeah, I'll inject into this drop method right here. So in the spirit of hiding our mixin, I'm trying to think of a name that will be not suspicious, like mixin extended buffer builder. Sure. But we're not actually going to mix into that. We're going to mix into Piglin Brain. I'll add that later. Going to inject into drop at head. Let me just see if it'll let me add to the list. And then in our mixins file, this isn't probably going to be used on a server, so if we're local, a client-side mixin should work. So we're going to do, let's see, let's make it appear. Buffers. Mixin extended buffer builder. So our mixin has now been added. Let's run the game. Alright, I'm in the nether now. We're just going to try bartering with this piglin here. As you can see, there's our ender pearl that we added here in this inject. So obviously you would not do it this way because it's like, well, it doesn't work like that. So probably what you do is you would say, let's get random from the world. Let's say 1 in 5 chance. Going to clear the list, and then according to my bartering loot table chart that I have up here, you get 2 to 4 ender pearls. So piglin world random next int, that is 0, 1, 2, 3. And this argument needs to be in here. So we'll give them an ender pearl from 2 to 4. And let's try that again. Alright, that took a really long time considering we were only doing 5 random numbers, but as you can see, our little override here has worked, which means if we go to the next line here, the list is now empty, and then we're going to add our ender pearl to it. So whatever trade just happened was overridden with an ender pearl. That was probably the ender pearl we just got. So if you're just a player here, there's no way to tell that that was modified. Now the real question is, can you detect this mixin from a vanilla client if you have the world files and game log? So what I'm going to do here is build the sodium jar. I've got that here. I'm going to open up MultiMC. Going to drag this. So this instance here now has our modified sodium jar. As you can see, there's basically no, the only thing that's going to be different is the jar size, but if you don't send them your mod files, there's no way for them to know that it was modified, or if you just replace it with a standard sodium jar. Of course, the hash of the jar is going to be different, but again, if you don't send it to them, there's no way for them to know. So this is a vanilla client. I'm just going to log in so that the mixin takes effect. Alright, so it took us, let's see, 4 trades, and we got our 4 ender pearls, which makes me think that the mixin is working in vanilla. I have the notepad search functionality opened up after we just played the game. I have the directory of our instance here copied into the directory field. So what we're going to just do is search for our mixin class name. As you can see, I did a few searches before, we have 2 results. Let's see if it'll show us where those are. We've got 1 here and 1 right here. Now, these look so similar to the normal sodium mixin names that unless you had a list of all the sodium mixins, there is no way that you would ever guess that this is a fake mixin or one that's trying to hide its true intention. If we go back to here, I'm going to pull this down a little bit. Going to search for add to drop. As you can see, 0 hits for add to drop. If we just search for drop, looks like translations, not related to what we're doing right here. Let me open that window back up one more time and search for Piglin Brain. Is there any trace of anyone mixing into this class? There's not. In conclusion, it would be super, super hard to detect whether someone's using a modified sodium jar with code that edits the Bartering Loot Table, unless you were, like, looking for something like this, but there's basically no way that would happen. Of course, you can always compare the file size or hash of mods to the released versions, but I don't know if that's grounds for accusing someone of cheating fully, and you could always just not send your mod folder, or send a mod folder with the original version of Sodium. So, not making any accusations here, just doing this on request. Tell me what you think, and thanks for watching. See you later.